Today I went down to the fairground, which opens tomorrow, to have a look round and to video some of the graphics, which are marvellous. 70 years ago I used to live in Hambridge. I was born in a house on the top of Greenway Street, which was called the Fisherman's Lane. We always called the cobbled street the Lane. At the beginning of May, Chester races took place on the Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. There was only one race meeting then, and on those days the fair arrived. We would wait in the street sometimes as children to see when the first wagons and caravans arrived, and when one of us had spotted it, we shout, "The fair's arrived," and all the people, adults and children, would come out into the street and look at what was arriving and to hope that there was something new. We were always expecting to see the fair, and we used to rush across the Oldie Bridge and onto the old Little Rue D car park to see what was there. We had to keep well away because sometimes there was dogs and some of the other children were a bit unfriendly with us, but we used to watch from the railings and hope to see them erect. The big wheel was always amazing, and we used to watch it go up in bits and quarters, not like the old wood rails now. The big wheels today are like cabins all contained, and you were always watching from the windows. In those days, the big wheel used to whoosh through the air, and you could smell the air, you could feel the air, you could breathe the air, and the seats would go backwards and everybody would be screaming, but it was such fun. As children, we went to the fair every day. We had no money, but we were just glad to be there. We had to be home by 8, so we used to get there for about 6 after school and wander around and be fascinated by the things that we could see. Coming in from the top steps, we'd come down, and basically there was big coconut shies, and as the night wore on, there'd be these soldiers and other lads taking off the coats with the girlfriends watching and trying to knock the coconuts off their off this whatever, and basically they would be screaming with delight because the ball often never came back at them instead of knocking the coconut down. Next to them, there was the air gun rifles where you could shoot down 3 sticks sticking up out of 6 and you get a prize. The air guns were something that the kids loved because we never had guns like that, and basically although they were old, we loved them. Not a lot of people know this, but Pat Collins was born on the 12th of May 1859 at a fairground in Chester. He was one of 5 children born to John Collins, an agriculturist labourer of Irish descent. Patrick attended St Werburgh's Catholic School in Chester, but left at the age of 10 to go travelling with his family. He was married twice, first to Flora Ross in 1880, she died in 1933, and then to Clara Mullet, his secretary, in 1934. She survived him. Flora gave him a son, Patrick Ross Collins, born the 7th of March 1886, who continued the family business. Pat Collins Limited was created in 1899 when Collins had established a round of fairs in the Black Country based on traditional holidays or wakes from August to October. Near the bottom gate was the Wall of Death, and we used to watch these fellas rev the motorbikes up and go round and round the wall, taking their hands off the crossbar, and some whizzing in and out of each other. It was a great sight, especially for youngsters. Next to them was the boxing booth, one of my favourites. Now the graphics on these boxing booths were marvellous. On the ones I remember, you had Randolph Turpin one side, Sugar Ray Robinson the other side. Both had been world champions at their weight. What used to happen was that selected boxers would be standing on a platform and a crowd would form, and the announcer would ask people to come up, choose a boxer and go inside and last 3 rounds, and if they did, they got, I think, about £5. If they didn't, often the crowd would throw money into the ring, which was collected and given to them. It was all a lot of fun. I only went in there once and I really enjoyed it. Along this road then were some weird things. There was a show with animals, one with a sheep with 2 heads, and next to that was a woman lying in a bikini with snakes all around her. I was only about 8 or 9 and I thought I'll have a look at that, paid me tanner, and in I went. One look, I was so embarrassed seeing the woman smiling at me with hardly anything on, I shot out the other side and never even remember seeing the snakes. Further along, there was Pick a Duck, where the ducks would be floating around in the water and you'd hook them off, and basically if they had a number which related to a prize on the stall, you won, and if they didn't, hard luck. What we used to do, we'd stand there for ages, and when somebody won a big prize, we'd watch where the fella put the duck so we could have a go, but he soon worked out what we were up to. It was a great time. The music was blaring, all the 60s music records that we never really had at home, and you could hear all the top 10 with the likes of the modern music coming through, the lights flashing, and really you couldn't wait to get there the next day. The fair was a place where people used to come according to age groups in a way. When it opened in the afternoon or early evening, all the kids used to come and they'd be on the swings and the little roundabouts, tapping horns, and there's a little wheel there and they go round and round and round. And as the night drew on, the older kids would come, and then really after the pubs had shut, they'd all be coming down, screaming and bawling on the waltzers, the bumping cars and the big wheel. It really was a great time.